One day on my bed at night, the name Women for Africa just came.
Oh, wow.
And I woke my husband up. I said, that's it. I said, Women for Africa. And he's like, what? I said, Women for Africa. I'm passionate about women. You're passionate about Africa. Women for Africa. Let's do Women for Africa awards. And it just started there.
You have kids, because you said something about parenting.
Yes.
How many do you have?
I have 5 children.
Wow.
And 4 grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations.
When I used to travel back to Nigeria, I have a friend there. Every time he'd introduce me, he would say, oh, this is WiseTola, she's a radio presenter. They automatically assume I play music on the radio.
Okay.
And they'll be giving me their CD. I come back to UK with a whole load of CDs.
Gotcha.
I said to the owner of the radio station, I said, you know what? I want to have an Afrobeats show. There was no one on that station playing Afrobeats at the time. They were like, yeah, why not? The likes of Pata Rankin
Oh, no way.
The likes of Techno were there. So we just used to be in the studio, just having a laugh and, like that kind of thing. And so seeing who they are today,
now, right.
like from back then, like it's amazing.
Welcome to the Diva Doc Let's Talk YouTube community. Join us as we dive into insightful conversations and empower each other. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying the discussions. Please, let's talk and grow together. Thank you. Welcome to Diva Doc Let's Talk, where we celebrate the untold stories and unbridled passions of inspiring women who are making waves irrespective of their fields. Today, we're in London, and I am honored to have Omotola Onigbanyo, the one and only WiseTola and Godmother of Afrobeats, at the brown table. With a journey marked by determination, innovation, and a commitment to empowering African women, Tola's dedication has led to the creation of the Women for Africa Awards, a testament to her pioneering spirit. Join us as we delve into her remarkable story, explore her entrepreneurial drive, and uncover the lessons she's learned along the way. You're welcome to Diva Doc Let's Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
for having me.
Oh, yes.
I heard that intro and I thought, is that me?
You're a diva. When I saw you, I'm like, she's a diva. So tell me about this Women's for Africa. I'm just curious. What made you get there? And how did you do it?
I believe my journey started with me growing up with my dad. I was raised by my dad, me and my siblings, raised by my dad. My mum stayed back home in Nigeria to look after her mum. And my dad didn't know how to do our hair. He had 2 girls and my brothers. He didn't know how to do our hair. So he would shave our hair. And we would go to school bald and we would get teased. And I was like, no, I don't want to get teased anymore. So I took myself down to the market and I bought the 49p horsehair, we used to call it at the time. That synthetic hair was so coarse. And I started practicing how to braid my own hair. And, with a lot of practice, I started braiding my own hair and I got really good at it. And then my friends started wanting their hairs braided and I'd braid their hair. Then their mums started wanting their hair braided and I'd braid their hair too.
Oh, wow.
So I just started that journey from the age of 14 doing hair right up until, like how long it took me. But I used to now do hair at home. I registered myself as self-employed and I started doing hair because I had so many clients. I was doing hair from Monday to Sunday.
Braiding hair.
Yes. Sunday I'd wake up, go to church, come back, and I'd have clients right from morning up until evening. And you're doing women's hair, you're in your house, it's just you and them, they're telling stories, and I'm like, wow. If I'm inspired by this, if I'm moved by this, other people are going to be moved by this.
That's right.
And I just thought, people need to hear your stories, because I'll hear a story and I'll go and be like, oh my God, I met an amazing woman. Can you imagine this woman, this, and, and then I just thought, I knew I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And I felt to myself, what is it going to be? I'm passionate about parenting as well. So I thought, is it going to be around parenting? Then I thought, no. And so one day on my bed at night, just lying in bed, and the name Women for Africa just came.
Oh, wow.
And I woke my husband up. I said, that's it. I said, Women for Africa. And he's like, what? I said, Women for Africa. I'm passionate about women. You're passionate about Africa. Women for Africa. Let's do Women for Africa Awards. And it just started there. I started to just plan the whole thing. I'd seen a venue that I absolutely loved years ago in Kensington, massive hall in Kensington Town Hall. And I said to him, that's where we're going to do it. Didn't even know the cost of it or anything. The
You just, I'm doing
capacity,
it.
yeah, the capacity we said is 450 people. Let's do it, you know. And for the first event, I wasn't even thinking, oh my God, are we going to fill this place or not? I just said to him, look, let's just do this system. Nominations till this, we get a selection panel, they'll select the finalists, and then we get independent judges, they'll pick the winners. So no voting or anything, because we
Right.
don't want people winning because they're popular.
Right.
We want them winning based on merit.
Right.
And that's how we did it. And that's how we started. The first one, it was absolutely sold out. And every year we have been selling out.
Did you take the hair braiding to a different level where you had your salon and had people working for you? You just you stopped doing that?
Yeah, I stopped doing it. I was doing it from home. I stopped doing it in 2006. Yes, once I had my last son in 2006, I stopped because we moved. We moved outside of London, and I wasn't
Okay.
going to start telling my clients to travel that
Right,
far.
right.
So I just knew I was going to stop then, and then I just took a break to have my son, and then I thought, now's a good time to finish writing my book. So I finished writing my book.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you have kids because you said something about parenting.
Yes.
How many do you have?
I have 5 children
Wow.
and 4 grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations. You're blessed.
Thank you.
So how did you balance being a mother and, you were doing hair and then this woman for Africa? Because a lot of our, people who watch us definitely going to wonder, how did she manage to balance organizing this event and having 5 children and then also braiding her and even trying to get people nominated? How did you do all that?
Well, I mean, my children, the age ranges are quite, I mean, my eldest is 37, my youngest is 18. So the gaps in between are quite, quite large. So when I was doing hair, that was all I was doing.
I see.
I was doing hair, once I have the babies, they go on my back because we wrap them on our back and I'm just braiding that hair, doing that. So that was my full-time job.
Yeah, I bet it's at home too.
Yes,
so
it's
you
at
can take a
home.
break.
Yes, and it's flexible. So I can
Right.
take the younger ones to school.
Right.
Then a client comes
Right.
and then I can pick up, my kids as well. So it all revolved around what I was doing.
Right.
And everything. When we now moved outside of London and had my last born, that's when I stopped the hair.
Okay.
So that's when I just took out time to raise him and complete my book, because I had started writing a book, but I hadn't finished it. So I thought, well, now's the time. I'm going to be at home with the baby. Now's the time to finish writing the book.
So tell me about this book.
So the book
What
is
is- uh-huh.
the book is about step parenting. When I met my husband, I had 2 children. My husband had 1.
Okay.
And then we've got 2 together.
So
That's why we have
blended.
5.
Okay.
Yes. And I just was looking for books on step parenting because
They lived with you?
Yes, my 2 lived with him, and then we had his daughter every
Other.
other weekend and during holidays as well. So we're trying to get the balance right. Okay, so who's meant to do what? Am I going to have you telling off my children and and that kind of thing? And so I was looking for books on step parenting. I'd go on Amazon, I'd order some books, and they weren't addressing what I wanted it to address. But luckily, we just did it. We did it in a way that it just worked so well, because there was a time that, my husband would, he would say some things, oh, you should let, your son do that. Ricky, my eldest is called, you should let Ricky do that. And I'll be like, why are you telling me
What do I do with my son?
yes, kind of thing. And I think, when you're used to raising your children all by yourself, for somebody now to come and try and tell you what to do, you think to yourself, are you challenging my parenting skills, and that kind of thing, whereas they're not.
Yeah.
They're seeing things that you're probably not
Right,
looking
right,
at,
right.
and I say, I say to people, I say, look, you can start off tying your kids' shoelace because they don't know how to. And you can find that you're tying their shoelaces because because they don't know how to.
Right.
Until somebody tells you, you can just show them what to do and then they can do it. So that's basically what he was telling me to do. But I was just so used to doing so many things,
Right.
for them. I wasn't really seeing that. And he was saying get him to do that because that will now help you.
Right,
Then you
right.
can relax and, you do hair all day, then you pick out the Hoover, and then whereas your son can help you to Hoover,
Yeah.
he's not going to have a problem with it. And I thought to myself, yeah, but we worked everything in a way that it worked so well. So I always had friends that had children and that they were with new partners will say,
Yeah.
oh, like I'm having problems with this, and how do you do it so well? But we just blended as a family.
Yeah.
And I say to people, even though it's step parenting, remove the step and just parent.
Yes.
You're a parent to
You'll be
that
fine.
child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't look at them as, like, because that
They're not your
step is the
kids.
barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
me take a step back. Let me, like, I said, no, treat them exactly as you would your own children. So our kids grow up and they're all brothers and sisters as
Oh,
far as they're
nice.
concerned.
So is the book published?
Yes, the book is published. I actually did the revised edition last year. So I launched the revised edition of it because I launched that one in 2007.
Uh-huh.
And then I did a revised edition because there's a lot more now.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Steps.
Steps.
Yes.
All right. So what would I find in that book? Because I may be a step parent at some point, so I need to know.
I give examples things that we
Real life
addressed.
examples.
Yes, real life examples, things that we addressed, whether it's discipline, the all important X, because we do have X's, we're step parents now. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, and just those kind of things and how the journey was, and in terms of discipline styles and everything else. And yeah, I talk
Any
about a lot
memorable
of that.
part of this book about step parenting?
I think there's quite a few in there. There's quite a few things that I touched on that people will be able to relate to as well.
Yeah.
Because I say one thing that I do say, I said, like I used to have this myth. I used to have this thing that any man that loves me has to love my children just as much as he loves me.
Totally.
But that's not the case.
Why?
Because when the man falls in love with you, he falls in love with you. He doesn't fall in love with your children.
Still, you love me, you love my dog. I mean, really.
So I came to realize that's a process, like the loving of your children is a process. And for some people it's quick, for some people it's not. And I always say to people that my husband said he would never have married me if my children were rude. And that's one thing that we have to, because why does he now want to come in and deal with that as well?
But you got to control that though.
Yes.
Yes.
So I say to parents, how you raise your children matter as well, and that kind of thing. And I said, for some, it might be because when they do fall in love with you, they fall in love with you, not your children straight away. For you, it could be love at first sight.
Yeah.
But for your children, it's a process. And I say sometimes the process can take a bit of a while.
Yeah.
But, and I talked about some things that I did. I didn't just start disciplining his daughter just like that.
Right.
Because she has a relationship with him first. But if there's things that I see, I will now go to him and get him to address it until we were now comfortable and close. And I always say to him, I say, look, she's more closer to me than she is with you, and it's the truth because we're very close now.
That's awesome.
Like that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's what I did. That book led me to going onto radio and then having my own radio show. And
how
things
did
like
that book get you into radio?
I was called to interview. Like people now wanted to interview me when I released the book on radio.
Okay.
And then I got a call one day saying, "Oh, would you like to have your own show on the radio?" And I was thinking about it. I've never been on radio before, and I thought, okay. And so I went on radio, and the first radio station that I was doing, it was a youth-focused radio station. So it was a talk show, talking to youth. And I was doing two at the time, another radio station, both on the same day, different times. That one was addressing parenting, and they were both talk shows.
Okay.
And I did that. In the process, we were now... This is years going by, and then the Women for Africa just came about, and I took a break from the radio because I said I needed to focus on Women for Africa.
Yeah, because I want to talk a little bit more about that.
And then I got a call from one of my radio stations saying, "Oh, are you coming back? Are you sure you're coming back?" I said, "Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm just having a break because I just need to get this." And then when I got back, because when I used to travel back to Nigeria, I have a friend there. Every time he'd introduce me, he would say, "Oh, this is WiseTola. She's a radio presenter." They automatically assume I play music on the radio, and they'll be giving me their CDs, and I'm like, I don't play music. It's a talk show. But they still give me their CD. I come back to UK with a whole load of CDs.
Gotcha.
So when I went back after the break, I said to the owner of the radio station, I said, you know what? I want to have an Afrobeats show. There was no one on that station playing Afrobeats at the time. And then they were like, yeah, why not? Because I said, I've got loads of CDs. I want to. And then I had CDs and I just started playing Afrobeats on the radio.
So these were new up and coming artists.
New up and coming artists. But then obviously the popular ones, you have their music. They're already out there. But then you have new ones that nobody hears.
So anybody from the new ones that ended up blowing up?
I used to meet, my friend had a studio in Lagos, and this is what I was sharing in April, because you said, asked me when I went back. I went back in April because I was doing an event celebrating 15 years in the entertainment industry, and I did it in Lagos because that's where it started. That's where
Right.
they were giving me their
Of
CDs.
course.
So my friend used to have a studio in Lagos that I would hang out in, and there'll be artists in there that would be hanging out, so the likes of artists that nobody knew, but they were passionate about music. So the
Right.
likes of Pata Rankin
Oh,
was
no
there. The
way.
likes of techno were there. So we just
No
used to be in the
way.
studio just having a laugh and, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so seeing who they are
Now,
today, like
right.
from back then, like it's amazing. It just makes me know that, like
Aw.
as long as you stick with what you're doing,
True.
become good at it,
Yeah.
like, look,
Yeah.
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 Because back then, I can remember Pat Rankin's first songs that he used to freestyle for me back then
Oh
to
my
where he
God.
is now,
Right.
and it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so
Oh,
proud of them.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I see that they call you Godmother of Afrobeats. Where did that come from?
It's actually quite funny where that came from. I wasn't looking for that title, trust me. But it was my birthday 2 years ago. So my son, on that day, I remember he called me and he said, "Oh, Mum, can you send me all the pictures that you have with all these artists, all of them, the Burna Boys, the Tiwa Savage, and all that?" And I
You've had
was
pictures
like,
with them?
"Yeah, I do."
Oh.
And I was like, "Ricky, it's my birthday. Do you think I'm going to start scrolling through my phone looking for pictures?" I said, "That's not what I'm going to spend my birthday doing."
No.
He's like, "Mum, can you just send me some of these pictures?" I said, "Ricky, you know that they're all over my phone,
You're
and I
right.
have thousands of pictures on my phone."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Just send me the ones that you can then." I said, "Okay, I'm going to look for some. I'll send you some, and that's it. I
Yeah.
can do them tomorrow or
Yeah.
any other
Yeah.
day," because I didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went through, and the ones that I could find, like Tiwa Savage, Olamide, Burna Boy, Scales, all of those ones I sent to him, like, and that. So yeah, I just sent them to him. I didn't know what he wanted to do anyway. So then that night, I think about 10, 11 o'clock, I started getting tagged in posts on Instagram because I was going through all my messages
Yeah,
and
right,
responding.
right.
So then I started seeing these videos that he had tagged me in. So he
Okay.
had videos of like Fireboy, Tiwa Savage saying, "Oh, happy birthday to the godmother of Afrobeat." So that's what he had done.
All
So he
right.
now wanted the pictures because he got my friend to create a frame with all their pictures of me and them, and then in the middle is the video of them doing happy
Oh,
birthday.
wow. How did he get them to do
Message.
that?
He had, like a few of my connects that he was
Right,
able to.
right, right.
But the only thing is he didn't have access to so many. So when he
Okay.
was now posting the videos and, like tagging me in and people were seeing the videos, other artists now started messaging me saying, "Oh, I want to do a video."
Right. Oh,
But
that's
I knew he
cool.
wouldn't have had access to them to be
Right.
able to do them. And,
Right,
like,
right, right.
So I
But
think,
now you got into it.
no, so I think after that he was like, "This is it, Mum. No more now."
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing, because he actually wanted it done for on the day. So,
Yeah.
So as they were saying that, that was it. So that's
Oh,
what he got there.
wow.
He actually told them, like, just wish her a happy birthday, godmother of Afrobeats, and and that's what they were saying. So
But then you do manage some Afrobeat artists
yeah,
though.
I do. I mean, I've spent, a number of years, especially my focus has always been on the upcoming artists, like just encouraging them, pushing them. I tend to go live a lot on Instagram just to
Oh, really?
give out information for them and also have people come on. I manage a particular artist and he came about through one of my platforms because I have a platform that I do on Instagram. It's called Sunday We Freestyle. So I give upcoming artists an opportunity to freestyle live on Instagram. And I have one of like a very very well known OG that comes on and he gives them feedback. I mean, they try to get access to him, but he's busy. But on the show, they can get feedback one to one. So he's the one that gives the feedback. The artist will come and so the artist that I manage now, Genie KG, he was one of the artist that came on a freestyle. So I've been managing him now since last year.
Okay.
And yeah, he's an amazing super talent and I can't wait for the world to hear what he's
Yeah,
got. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they've heard some of these things, but yes, he's
It's a good
working
thing I'm
on
getting
his
you
EP.
now because then you may move into a whole different. I'll be trying to find Tola. I can't find Tola.
So yeah, so
Oh, that's awesome.
we do manage. I have a partner that I partner with, and we do manage a few artists.
And so you see in Nigeria, the partner.
No, he's here. He's
Okay.
here. We do manage a few artists, a few videographers, producers, and that kind of thing. So we do have a good setup.
Okay.
within what we do.
So how do you manage remotely if these artists are in Nigeria?
I mean, he does what he needs to do. If he gets called upon for anything, he'll tell them speak to my manager, and he'll
Okay.
send them my contact, and
Okay.
then we talk
Okay.
from here and that kind of thing. So I
Okay.
continue the discussions and
Okay.
everything.
All
So
right.
yeah,
All right.
and then we do travel over there. So we're due to go over there soon as well to shoot a few videos
Okay.
and that kind of
Oh, so
thing.
you're a
So yeah,
busy woman.
yes, I am.
So you woke up one day and said, I want to do this Women for Africa thing.
Yes.
How did you? I know you said it sold out, but there had to be a process because someone may be listening thinking, oh, it was easy. I know it wasn't easy. So how did you, you have to get funding. You can't just get a hotel room and not pay for it and say, you wait, let me sell my tickets and let me pay you. You probably have to pay in advance or a little bit in advance.
Yes.
How did you do that?
I think when I remember when I said to my husband, I said, we're going to do this because, like there's ordinary women that need to be celebrated and elevated. People need to know about these women and what they do because it's going to inspire others. It's going to inspire the next generation. I said to him, if I have to go and get a job in McDonald's to make this happen, I will do that. So we knew we were going to do that. So we started the process and I said to him, like, let's have nominations. So we'll open nominations from like end of August, early September, right up until December. So we give the public enough time to
How did you get
nominate.
the word out? Oh, through the radio.
No, not necessarily through the radio, through social media.
Ah.
Social media, we do flyers, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So we used to push a lot through social media, just every day and just always pushing. And then through our networks that we have and telling friends, share it. So we had the process of nominations up until December to give people enough time
Right, to get
I mean,
nominated.
we close nominations in December and we still get people, oh my God, I've only just heard about it. Can I still nominate? That kind of thing. And then I said from January to February will be the selection process. So
Okay.
we'll give the categories to the selection committee and give them a month to come back with their final 4 or final 5 from that category.
Got it.
And then we now email them to send a robust profile with links, evidence to their works, everything, which now goes to the judges. And we give the judges a good 5-6 weeks,
Okay.
at least just before the event, to get back to us with the winner's name. So they now
Okay.
do their research as well. They go online, they go through their evidence and everything. They get back to us with the winner. And then
Got
the winner
it.
is announced on the night of the awards.
I
So
see.
at the awards, we always tend to have at least 1 or 2 of our judges attend so they can just talk about the whole process, and how they choose the winners and that kind of thing and what stands out for them. And that's basically the process. So then doing the event, we now got in contact with the venue and we went to go and have a look at the venue. We saw the capacity, how we wanted it. And then we just saw that it was going to cost a lot because it's a hall.
Of course it
doing
is.
it in Kensington, because now we do it in a hotel, but before we were doing it in the town hall, Kensington Town Hall for 7 years. And they just give you a hall with chairs and tables. Now
That's
we
it.
have to get who's going to cover the chairs and the tables. We have to get who's going to do the food and all of that. We have to get the security, everything else, and we have to buy the drinks and all
Yep,
of that kind of
yep.
thing. So we started looking for sponsors, and because my husband's a businessman and he's helped businesses, he's helped other events and get sponsors and that.
Okay.
I left that to him because I said
Okay.
to him, I don't like sales. I don't like trying to get people to buy it. Oh, come and buy the, but he's a sponsor. He can sell oxygen basically. So I left him to do that part,
Yeah.
and I focused on the parts that I were, which was putting the structure and everything else in place.
Yeah.
So he would look for sponsors. So we'd have sponsors, and then we'd have tickets. We'd have different types of tickets as well, prices and everything. And that's how we just did the first one, and
Wow.
we did it. And yeah.
So if you get 100 nominees for a particular category, how do they whittle it? So you had like a selection committee and the judges.
Yes.
Got it. So
Selection committee will pick out the final 5 from all of that.
I see. Got it. And then the judges will pick one.
The winner.
I
Yes.
see. I see. That's why you like just nominate somebody and then
Yes.
we do the background work and then we decide, or the selection committee will
Yeah,
decide who
selection,
goes
yeah.
into the fight.
Yeah.
I see. So any obstacles you met while you were doing this?
The only obstacle is always has to do with sponsorship, because, in order to make the event what you want it to be, it really depends on sponsorship, or it depends on the money that you have coming in, because we can't say it's going to be made on ticket sales and things like that. We try to keep our tickets very reasonable. When we were doing it in Kensington, we were able to have 3 different ticket prices.
Okay.
So we have the standard ticket price, which is £35, because we want the finalists to be able to come and invite their family and friends,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
not be.
And you don't
But
want it
that
to be
only comes
excessive.
with snacks. That doesn't come with food. Then we have the VIP. Then we have the VVIP. Those ones come with 3-course meal and those kind of things. So people can choose what ticket price they want to go with.
But they're in the same room.
Yeah, everyone's in the same room. It's just
Okay.
the VVIP and the VIPs are at the front, and then the standard tickets are the ones that are more towards the back from then onwards. And that's how we do that. Now we've moved since lockdown into the hotel. We don't have those 3 ticket prices. We have 1 ticket price.
Got it.
now.
How much is the ticket?
Ticket prices start at £95, and that's early bird, and then it goes up to 120 after early bird price.
Okay.
And that's because
Do you have a
the
VIP
hotel-
price too? Well, that's
no,
it.
we don't, because everyone's in the same hall and everyone gets the same thing, because everyone gets food now.
Okay.
So because everyone gets the same thing, everyone gets the food, everyone gets the goodie bag and everything, so we keep the price the same.
Okay.
You know, and that's it. Everyone's in the same room, and the room's nice, so it doesn't matter where you are in the room.
Yeah.
The room is nice.
Yeah. And do you have entertainment? Because
Yes,
I
we
want people to know about this. So you may need a bigger hall now after we show this.
We didn't
yeah.
we didn't have anyone perform this year, but we over the years we've always had somebody perform. We had comedy this year, so we had a comedian,
Okay.
and that kind of thing, and then we have a DJ that plays music as well in between, and then there's a lot of networking, and then we try and finish on time so people can dance because they like
Oh,
to
you
dance
have
as
dancing
well.
after.
Yes, we do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you have your speeches and then the awards
Yes.
and then there's dinner.
Yes,
And
dinner's being served during the awards and
okay.
everything. Yeah.
So how many
that's what we've done.
categories of the awards?
Well, this year we did because it was year 10. We decided to award 10 phenomenal women for year 10, and that's
okay.
what we did, and 1 international woman, and then we had a special woman award and a lifetime achievement award as
So
well.
what did Lara win?
This year she won the lifetime achievement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, this year.
I may have to bring her back
And
a
the thing
second
is
time.
that she didn't know she was winning it. That's
Re-
the thing.
Oh,
She didn't
wow.
know she was winning it, and then we had a special woman award. She didn't know.
She won
Lara,
3.
Lara just bought her table of 10 and she's just sold on the event and just comes now, but she didn't know she was getting. So my husband had his phone on her face when he knew that she was going to be called, because it was unexpected.
Really?
So he wanted to capture her shock moment when her name was announced.
And was she shocked?
Oh, she was absolutely shocked, because we've only ever done 1 lifetime achievement before.
Wow.
So when I'm announcing, I'm saying this is the 2nd ever lifetime achievement that will be given out at Women for Africa, and that's because this woman has constantly been achieving, throughout her career, her life. She's always achieving. So we want to give.
Now,
this
was she
lifetime-
nominated for this one or you guys
No,
picked her?
lifetime achievement we choose. That's why we've only had 2. So we always look at somebody that's done outstandingly well. But before you get to that, you would have won the award. So she's won a category. She's been the winner of her category.
Which was what?
Woman in law.
Got it.
And then last year she got a recognition award, because we have recognitions as well when we have the categories. And then this year she got the lifetime achievement. So
Oh,
before
that's
you get the
awesome.
lifetime achievement,
That's
you'll probably
awesome.
get a recognition and that kind of thing. So yeah, there was shock on her face. She was
Wow,
absolutely
wow,
shocked.
wow. So, with these women who are winning these awards, do you think it's had some kind of impact on them?
Absolutely.
So give me an example.
Okay, so there was, in the first year we did, because when we have categories, one category that always has to be in awards, and I always say, is Outstanding Mother of the Year. There has to be a mother award, because we do work. We work hard, mothers.
do.
So I always have that category. So one of the women that won in the mother, she was now getting called to her children's school to come and give talks and things like that. She said she's never been recognized like that in her borough. Then we had an international category, Tonya Dobwe, and her story was actually quite unique. Like she was nominated. We didn't know her, but one thing with the awards, it makes us know some amazing women
Right.
when they're nominated. And she'd lost both of her parents during, something that had gone on in Liberia and that. So, her parents, when they were fleeing, she was separated from her parents. So she's never seen her. She never got reconnected with her mum, but she did with her dad. And she won the award. And then obviously she's based in Amsterdam. So, the king there obviously invited her for a visit after she had won. And she
Okay.
was sending us the video, and she was really
that's-
chuffed.
that's huge.
So yeah, so she was really chuffed. So what it has done is it has impacted women. it has encouraged them and motivated them to now want to do more, because now they're getting recognized for things that they're doing that
Right.
they're just doing because we love doing this thing, but somebody's recognizing them. Because I
Right.
always start the awards with something like, how many of you in this room know Michelle Obama? So everyone in the room is going to put their hands up because everyone knows Michelle Obama. Then I might say, okay, then, so how many of you in the room know Diva Doc? And maybe it might be
Nobody.
it might be the people that came with you.
Yeah, right.
So we're like, right, at the end of this evening, everyone in this room is going to
Yeah.
know who Diva Doc is.
Right.
And that's what it's about. Celebrating the ordinary woman, letting
Right,
people know
right.
what she does, who
Yeah,
she is.
yeah.
Now everyone knows those people.
Right. And really, that's also sort of the mission of this show, where we're not, you don't want to celebrate the celebrated.
Yes.
They're already being celebrated
That's it,
everywhere. Everybody
absolutely.
knows them.
Yes.
Why am I going to bring them to the and talk to someone like Beyonce? Already
Yes.
done it, right?
Yes.
So you want to bring people who have done it, but no one knows about it.
Yes,
So they can tell
absolutely.
their story.
Yes.
And I think hopefully it would, people will think it's amazing too. So no, if you had a young woman who says, young woman who's coming up in the world and wants some advice from you, what would be one of the advice you would give them as to how to succeed as an African woman or as a Black woman, really?
First thing I always say is believe in yourself. And I have this saying, if no one gives you a platform, create one. And I always tell people that. I say, look, if you want to be on the cover of a magazine, you say, I want to get on the cover of Vogue or things like that, and nobody's giving you that opportunity, create one. Create your own magazine and put yourself on the cover.
You got it.
You create your own clothing brand, and then you've got your own clothing brand,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I would say you can do what you want to see happen. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you that platform and then complain that they're not seeing you.
Yeah,
they're not
I
recognizing
hear you say that. And a lot of my guests do say that. And I will say, I think most of my guests have been in positions where they can do what they want to do. Now, what about that young kid who is in Tamale somewhere and has no access to even how to get paper and get their own magazine? I mean, it's almost like offensive to say, well, if you can't be on the cover of Vogue, get it yourself. So there are some people who it may seem impossible because they don't even have the money to get them out of that village, to get to the city, to get to that point. And so almost everybody I interview says what you just said. And I'm thinking, well, we're talking about when you've been blessed to be in that space, you can do that.
Yes.
But not everybody has that opportunity. So what do we say to those kids who now have phones and they're watching Diva Doc, Let's Talk, and they say, well, whatever, how am I going to get there? I won't get there.
I would say as long as you have a phone, reach out to somebody.
You got
Reach
it.
out to
You
somebody
got it.
that can. Because it's not everyone that's
Reaching
going to
out.
say no. Yes.
You're right.
Somebody will take you under their wings and somebody will say, okay, yeah, you can do that. Do it this way. Do
Yes.
it that way.
Yes, I agree.
And that's what I do with a lot of upcoming artists. And that's why I'm passionate about upcoming artists in the entertainment industry, because it costs nothing to give
Right.
them a repost or a retweet or to connect them with somebody that you might know,
Yeah.
as long as they're reaching out. So I would say reach out.
Yes,
You'll get to that
definitely.
person that's going to definitely help you.
I totally
And
agree.
give you that paper and that pen.
Yes. And, all they can say is no.
Yes.
All they can say is no. So what motivates you to keep going?
What motivates me to keep going? There's something you said, all they can do is say no. And I always say to people, no is not necessarily rejection. No is redirection to me.
Right,
So when
right.
somebody says no to me, I don't take it as rejection. I take it as redirection, because you're redirecting me to who I'm meant to go to say yes. Or you're redirecting me for me to think about, okay, how can I change this thing so that when I go back, they can't say no? And that. So sometimes it's timing. So sometimes you have to look at the timing. That's not the right time. So, okay, let me work on it a bit more so that when I go to the next person, they can't say no. And then you have a bit more information. You've
Yes.
learned a bit more along the way.
Yes.
So don't take it as rejection and then think, there's no point me doing this. I say keep going, as long as you believe it, you can achieve it.
Yes.
That's what I say.
I agree. Totally agree. So I'm sure in the 10 years that you've been doing this, you've met some amazing women.
Yes.
Anybody that stands out. They say, oh my God, that woman, she was like badass. I just love this woman,
I think for me, all the women, because when you meet them on the day, because the thing is, I meet all the women, even though my team handle all the emails and all the ones speaking to them directly, I make it a point to know every single woman. So when
wow.
it comes to the awards, and I can come up to you and say, oh, hi, Diva Doc, and you're looking at me, and I'll be like, hi, my name's Tola, I'm the founder, and, because we haven't had any communication via email, you're
Right.
thinking, but I know everything about you, I know
Right.
who you look, so I can come up to you,
Right.
because I make it a habit to want to know all the women and know a
Right.
bit about them.
Yeah.
So then on the day, it's like, we're they're really good friends. So all the women, they're just so lovely, so friendly, and they're just so amazing.
Yeah.
They're
Do you
just
stay
so
friends with
amazing.
some of them?
Yes, I do. I tend to stay friends with majority of them because
Yeah.
after the awards, what we do is we have the winners' dinner as well. So we had our
Ah,
winners' dinner last week,
okay.
and the reason why it was last week is because we had to work with some dates because like some of our winners,
And
like
not
we're going to be
available.
away and that, but they wanted to be at the dinner, so they're like, oh, I'm going to be away during this time. Can you
Yeah.
make sure it's not during that
But
time?
that's going to be so
So
difficult getting everybody on one day. Were you able to do that though?
we got majority of them on
Okay.
one day. One
Okay.
actually got the day mixed up. She sent me a message on Saturday, said, "Where are you sitting?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "It was on Wednesday."
Yeah, yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, we get majority. We usually get most of them, and then like we have our team. So that's an opportunity of them to meet the team now outside of the event. Because on the day that you meet the team briefly, whether they're doing registration and that kind of thing, but then they get the opportunity to now meet the team. We eat and we network. It's usually sponsored by one of our sponsors, the whole winners dinner.
How do you
And
get
everything.
sponsorship?
You have to look for them. You go looking. You go looking for them and you look for who has an interest. Sometimes people reach out to you and say, oh, how can we get involved and that
Yes,
kind of thing.
yes.
So once they say that, we just tell them what it is. Some people will just come and say, look, let me get you sponsorship for Women for Africa. Send us your packs and that kind of
Nice,
thing.
nice.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. So now, are you pivoting to anything else, or it's mostly Women for Africa at this point? Because clearly, once you've had your annual conference, what are you doing the rest of the time?
Well, we'll do a women's event. We'll do something in Black History Month, October, and then we do a Women's Day event in March as well for International Women's Month, and then the awards is in May.
Okay, so you're busy in between trying to
Yes.
coordinate. So do
Yeah.
you have people coordinating all this for you?
Yes, we have a team. We have a team. So everyone knows their role as well, and everyone knows their role on the day. So one thing I do, I mean, we've kept the same team right from the very start.
Oh, well.
So we have the same team right from the very start. So a lot of people are familiar with them, and we give them their own roles. People say, "Oh, how do you manage to keep your team for so long?" Give your team ownership. It's
Yes.
it's not just my thing
Yes.
or my husband's thing.
Yes.
It's our thing.
Yes.
So once they have ownership, you're in charge of registration. Run it however you want. So they'll run the registration. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this in place, and then they look at how they can make it better the next year, and I just leave them to it.
Nice.
And that's what we do.
Nice. So, question for you. So, you have all these amazing women who are being nominated, being selected, and they get the awards. What about our young women, our young up and coming women? What are you doing anything for them?
Well, we do have a Young Achievers a category. We've always had a Young Achievers a category every year so that we have a young person as well. And then what we found with the awards when people come as well, they bring their young people because
Okay.
it's inspiring. They want them to be inspired by the women there.
Yes.
So we do have people come with their young daughters, their young children, just for them to see so that they can be inspired by whatever it is that's going on. So we include them in the awards as well.
Okay. So, have you thought of sort of a mentor-mentee?
We have thought about it. We haven't put anything in place because a lot of people do say that to us.
Okay.
But I'm looking for how best to work it. Yeah.
Well, you can have some kind of registration where they register to get so do you have any mentors yourself, or
Me-
who has been a mentor to you?
I would say my mentor is God.
Okay.
I am very prayerful, and that. So my decisions and that, I always pray them through thoroughly. But I would say I don't have like a specific mentor. I would say any woman that is doing anything that is inspiring, motivating, that is my mentor because I will look at something
Like
that
me.
they're doing. Absolutely. I was just going to say that because I will look at what they're doing, like what you're doing, and
Yeah.
I'll be inspired by
Yeah.
it in some way.
Yeah.
So I will be thinking, wow, what she's doing is amazing. Like it's called Diva Doc. This
Yeah.
is, and she's shedding the spotlight on
Yeah.
amazing women
Yes.
so that you can get to know. So I will look at those kind of things
Yeah.
and I'll be inspired
Yeah.
by that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, like, I didn't start off thinking I was going to do this, but then it kind of morphed and now we're here. So, what has been the most rewarding part of just this journey? Just waking up one day saying, I want to do this, and now we're 10 years out. What has been most rewarding knowing that, you did this, but what else would you say, at least, okay, I can say I left this legacy, but what has been most rewarding?
For me, it's really about honoring those ordinary women that you can just celebrate and elevate. I mean, this year we had, we had some amazing mothers that we nominated, that we had awarded this year, and because I always say mothers are very important to me. And it was just seeing them, and how they just received, the whole award, because One of them said she'd never heard about it. She said, where have I been for the last 10 years that I've not heard of Women for Africa? What have I been doing? Like kind of thing. And, like she came and she was like wowed and, like, and she said the same thing. And, like I just said to her, like it was even your niece that said, oh, just remember you, like the next year and that kind of thing. So just knowing that you can award and celebrate ordinary women because they are achieving and doing stuff, and just them knowing that there's an organization out there that is interested in celebrating, elevating you and letting people know who you are and about what you do. That for me is the most rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. So how, I know you go out and get sponsorships, but does it even cover your cost?
Sometimes it doesn't, but me and my husband make sure it's covered. We make sure that we make sure it's covered, and then we have some amazing friends that support and help us, through. I mean, I'll definitely shout out Sam, our video guy. Sam, our video guy, he covers the event, and he's like, don't worry about it. If you haven't got enough sponsorship to cover his fee, he's like, don't worry about it. Like, I know what you guys are doing. I see what you guys are doing, and he does it, and he films our event, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we have people that support in those ways as well that can do their things.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is called Women for Africa.
Yeah.
And I know that, we are in the world of diversity, inclusivity, and equity. And so, is it all African women, or you?
You see, that's why it's called Women for Africa and not Women from Africa.
Okay.
Because if you're a woman and you're for Africa, you can be nominated. Let's say you can be from
Caucasian and
but
get an award.
But you're passionate about Africa. You're doing things because the international category, the international winner this year, her name is Marion. She's from, I think she's based in Amsterdam, I believe. But she does work in Kenya. So she does water. She provides water for the not so reached in Kenya and that kind of thing, because she believes everyone should have access to clean water. She's not African, but she wears the African attire and she's passionate about Kenya.
I like
so
that.
That's why we say Women for Africa.
Awesome.
If you're a woman and you're for Africa, you're passionate about Africa. There's women that are not African, but they're doing schools. They're doing things in,
so I'm glad you're
African
explaining
women.
that.
So yes, so that's,
Okay, great. So another question I wanted to ask is, you have women who try to be entrepreneurs. You've been successful at it. What advice would you give to, somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur? And I know we touched lightly on that, but, someone who's really thinking about it. Is it networking? Is it, what is, you may have some advice.
Networking is key.
Yeah,
I always say networking is key and visibility is key. I do a lot on visibility. I'm a visibility coach. So I always say, in order to
I need
get
some pointers
seen,
on that.
In order to get seen, you have to show up. And I tell people showing up is key, because, like, I've got onto like some TV interviews on Sky and that, just because of showing up, putting my book out there. And, because when people look for you, they go online. So I always say to people, make sure you have a digital footprint, because if people want to know about you, they're going to go online. Yes. I sometimes get people say, oh, like, we'd like to interview you for this podcast. You're going to be interviewed by so-and-so. I go online to go and look. I need to see that digital footprint so I know who this person is, what this person is about, so that I know where I'm going. So I would say that, network.
Yes.
And be visible.
Yes. And use social media to the hilt.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm sure you're a busy woman. Like, I know that. I mean, I only survive on 4 hours of sleep. Okay. That's why I look like this. I'm just kidding.
You look good. 4 hours?
4 hours of sleep. So how do you balance, working so hard and, having sort of a work-life balance, making sure you're not stressed? Because people can get sick from stress. They get strokes, they get heart attacks. I'm not trying to do that. So I make sure I make time for Thelma. How do you do that?
I've learned to tell myself that when it gets to the point where I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got so much to do, tell myself, like, stop, Tola, take a break. And I stop and I actually take a break. So I might just stop, leave everything, and I go downstairs and I watch Netflix. And I just take a break from it all, because once I've had that break, I can now go in and it's like I'm supercharged and I'm ready. Or I might just say, I'm going to take a nap, and I
need to learn how to do that.
Switch off my laptop and I take a nap, like, because I do work for myself, so I work from home.
Okay.
Like that kind of thing. But I tell myself, take a break, learn to take a break. because whatever you've got to do, you can still do it after the break. So sometimes I might say, I'm giving myself a day off tomorrow. So I'm not doing
Oh,
any,
wow.
I'm not sending any emails. I'm not doing any of this. I'll resume the day after. And I take a break and I just know that I'm taking that day off. And it actually feels good. It actually feels really good.
I'm just so scared to do that. I'm like, I'll have a ton of the work is gonna wait for me. It's not going anywhere just because I took a break.
But you see, and that's the thing. So doing it and not giving yourself a break, when you have that break, you go in and you're ready. Like,
Yeah,
right, where's the
yeah.
biggest? Which
Yeah.
one is that? Let me tackle this one. Let me do this one.
Yeah.
Because you've given yourself a bit of a
Yeah,
break. Because
yeah.
I just don't see why I'm going to go back to back from this to this to this to this and then to that. It's just too much. So I've learned to give myself breaks, give myself a day off if I need to, and have a nap.
Yeah, that's
Power
great
naps
advice.
are the best.
Oh, power naps, definitely. Power naps, definitely. We talked about you saying you were on a podcast on the radio show. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Because you seem to have your finger in every single pie. You're on radio shows, podcasts. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so we have a podcast that I do with two other guys. It's called The Commissioners. And so we focus on the three E's: entertainment, empowerment, and education. So any guests that we have, we make sure that we touch on those areas with them as well as their career and whoever they are. So I do that with two guys. Both of them are DJs as well. Soundboy T and DJ Gabe.
Okay.
So we record episodes. So anytime we have anyone that we want to book from here, or let's say somebody has flown in from town that we're interested in, we get them on the podcast and we just do that show. So I do that. So it's not like we do it every week or
Okay.
we might have a booking and then we try and get two guests on the same day so that we do two episodes and then we release it.
So how do people know you're releasing it, or you have some commercials out to let them know
so
you're
what we
about to
do-
release?
Yeah, so what we do is we have like our Instagram page, we have our YouTube channel, and then as soon as the episode's out, we post it out there as well.
Okay, very good. And then you have so is that different from the radio show?
Well, I don't do radio anymore. I stopped radio. I
Got
stopped
it.
radio ages ago.
Okay,
now,
that was when you
yeah.
were doing the Afrobeat thing.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
so this podcast is sort of infrequent. It's only when you get someone coming in that you want to
Yes,
talk to.
yes.
So who have you spoken to? Like anybody?
On the podcast, we've done Fireboy, we've done
Oh my goodness.
we've done Fireboy, we did Vector, we've done ID Kabasa, we've done Majid, we've done
Mitchell.
Rebecca, we've done quite a few
Oh,
people.
nice. So the final question I have for you is: so you have the young lady who got a visa or got a green card to come to the UK. I don't know what they call it, permanent residence to the UK, and now wants to go into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Now some of them will get overwhelmed because it's very different. Ghana is different from the developed country. So what advice would you give to someone who has recently entered the UK and is trying to go out on their own and just doesn't know how to navigate the system?
I would say, first of all, attend events so you can network. Network, meet people, meet other individuals, exchange contacts when you meet people, because you never know who's going to lead you to the next,
Yes.
opportunity or introduce you to the next person that can help you with that. And that's why I said before, networking is really key, and visibility as well. Show up, be seen, let people know what you're doing, and always introduce yourself and let people know
Yes,
who you are, because
yes.
even though you might meet somebody that they have no use for what you do, the moment they have a friend that says, "Oh, I'm looking for somebody,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they'll
They can
remember you,
remember.
and then they can now refer you. They
Yes,
can recommend
yes,
you.
yes.
So always show up, but show up letting
Yeah.
people know who you
you
are
are.
and what you do. So I
Yes.
would say start networking. By networking, you'll start to figure out some things that you want to do, and it will just come easy to you.
I agree, totally agree. And I think that people have a hard time doing that.
Yes.
Like approaching people, especially the Africans.
Yeah, we do.
They're shy.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I would usually go and introduce myself.
Yeah, I do.
But not everybody does that, And
But
like,
you have to. You
do,
have to.
you do.
How? I mean, ask yourself, how bad do you want it? And that should be your answer.
Yes.
I go to networking events and I'm like, "Hi, my name's Tola. What's your name?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you do?
Yes.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
People like to talk, and
Yeah,
they like to
peop-
talk about themselves
Oh
and
my
what they
God,
do.
totally.
So you'll find that they'll just start talking.
Totally. I agree. Any parting words for me?
Well, I'll just say, just keep doing what you do because you're amazing as well. You're an inspiration, and as you're inspiring people, you're going to find people are going to be inspired to obviously probably take up and say, "I'm going to do a show as well. If Diva Doc
Yes.
can do it, so
Yes.
can I."
I know,
Because
really.
that's what we turn
Yes.
around and say. If this
Yes.
person can do it, so
Yes.
can I.
Yes.
And we're not
Yes.
saying it because we feel that I can do
I
it
do it
better
better.
than them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because now that I can see that this person can do it,
Yes.
they've kind of like
Yes.
inspired me and
Yes.
paved the way for me
Yes.
to be able to do it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, because who would have thought? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a doc for God's sake. You know? Who would have thought I'd be sitting here trying to interview? You know what I mean? It's like that. But here we are. We're
Yes.
doing it. So,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you
so much
too.
for coming in. It was a pleasure. It's a pleasure talking to you about
Thank
women.
you.
This has been a truly insightful conversation with the one and only WiseTola, from her serendipitous entry into the world of Afrobeats to her unwavering dedication to uplifting African women. Tola's story is a testament to the power of perseverance, passion, and a deep commitment to making a difference. As the godmother of Afrobeats, she continues to pave the way for the next generation of artists and entrepreneurs, inspiring us all to dream big and never underestimate the impact we can have. Thank you, Tola, for sharing your journey with us today. Listeners, be sure to follow Wise Tola and stay tuned for more inspiring stories on Diva Doc. Let's talk. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Diva Doc Let's Talk. If you enjoy the content and want to hear more, please consider subscribing to our podcast. Your support helps us continue bringing you valuable discussions and insights. If you'd like to contribute even further, we invite you to visit our website where you can make a donation to help us keep the content flowing. Every bit helps, and we truly appreciate your support. Until next time, stay fabulous and let's keep these conversations going. Thank you.